live.
But the real question is that I don't think you can answer is, how do you know this stuff? How do you know it?
I'm an agnostic, Mike. I told you from the beginning. I don't know.
Right.
I don't. That's the difference. And I've gotten to the point where I'm okay not knowing. I
No, that's
think
fine.
that this is the way that I am.
So you're
dipping
saying
my
we're not
toe-
supposed
Hold
to
on.
know.
I am dipping. That's the whole point of limitation. That's the whole point of the human experience. If I'm right and you're reabsorbed into the oneness and your fractal of universal consciousness is just a temporary book that's being written and that reabsorbs with the oneness. Look, if that's the truth, I'll never know until it happens. If you're right, and hold on, and your version is, that you're going to stand before the great white throne. Well, not great white for you, but you're going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, and then you're going to
Yeah.
be granted access into paradise and all. You don't objectively know that. I am at least honest about it.
Based on what?
What do you have it based on? You have it based on manuscripts of other people's writings and other people's experiences with
Well, I
God.
can
And
answer my
hold
question.
on, you've
I can.
developed a systematic theology around it where
Yeah.
where you think it's consistent enough to where you say, okay, I'm going to
And
believe
yours
in
is
this.
based on
And all due
experience.
respect,
Yours is
uh
based
huh.
on subjective experience.
And
So no,
yours is
I
not.
mean, no,
Yours
I'm
is
being
based
fair.
on someone else's
I
experience.
want to be fair,
Yours
though.
is
I want to
based
be
on
fair to
someone
you.
else's experience.
Hold on. I want to be fair to you. So here we have your
It's
position. We
all
have my
experience,
position.
man.
No, you're right. Experience is real. I don't deny that. But what I'm saying is,
No, I'm saying that what your thing is not this objective thing that's not based on experience. It is. It is based
yeah,
on in times past the God spoke through Moses and the prophets, and as these latter days spoken to us through His Son Jesus Christ. You believe in
hmm
inspiration and canon and all of this, and you believe that the progressive revelation stopped 2,000 years ago. I don't. But
I'm
you're
a little,
still basing it on
I'm a
experience.
little charismatic, to be honest. So there is that.
Well, you have to be, I think.
You have to be consistent. But
You
I
understand
guess
what I'm
if I
saying
can,
about
no, I
experience?
do. But if I can put them out like this, right? Like here's your position, here's my position. And again, I'm just saying logically, right? Just let's tap into logic for a second.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, I'm basing my experience off of 2,000 years of church history.
Of other
Imper-
people's experience. Call it what it
no, no,
is.
no. It is as imperfect as it might be. It's still history, objectively. But then also objective manuscript evidence, which again, I know there's variations. I understand all that. But so I have
Which
church
is
history.
a record of other people's experience with
I
God,
know, I know.
whether or not it's preserved or accurate or
Yes,
historically,
yes,
it's
yes.
still you're
I
doing the
give
same
you
thing.
that. I give that. But so I have church history, I have manuscript evidence, I have my own experiences as well, which, are pretty relevant. So, and
Sure.
then not to mention the universal church as it stands that shares those commonalities with me as well. And on this hand, you have Scott Newton's subjective experience. I agree, it's all experiential to a degree, but I mean,
All right, let me answer that because that's
does
good.
that
That's
not
good.
seem?
I no, but you're wrong. But I'm sorry on that one. You're wrong.
Well, I'm not
You're
making a truth
saying
claim. I'm not making a truth claim. I
okay,
can't be
okay.
wrong. I didn't make a truth claim. I just said,
That's true. That's true. I
I
would say
said,
that it's not accurate because I didn't. I should have thrown something in. It's not on you. Okay, it's not on you. All right.
what's that?
Um, all of those things that you're using, you're saying that
Uh,
they are sort of legs to the table of supporting the entire structure, right? You've got
that's
this and
fair.
this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
Okay, right? So mine is not exclusively at all
You are the
exclusively.
legs to your own
Hold on, let me
table.
finish.
You're
Well,
the
hold on,
legs
let
to
me
your own
finish.
table, though.
Let me finish. No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
not saying that it is exclusively me. This is where things like the Bible, um, to me, are absolutely like okay. I absolutely believe that what I'm
hmm
saying is what Jesus taught. And
Okay.
I could take you chapter and verse, go through all of it. Even though I don't believe that it's a perfect record, I believe that the things that he said that were so divine and so
hmm
kingdom of heaven, they couldn't have come from anywhere else. Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. If it be your will, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. love your neighbor as yourself, love those who do you wrong. There's so many things that Jesus said that just go, there's no way. I know where that came from. I know the place that that came from.
How do you know?
Okay, uh, but because it resonates with that thing that is also me.
So you're the
Okay,
legs
no,
of your table.
no, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm
All
not
right, all right. Go
done.
ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm saying that I believe that Jesus was a human just like I am. Um, but I am absolutely benefiting from his teachings and his wisdom and his experience, and not just his. Oh my goodness, the entirety of the human religious experience. What book I highly recommend that you read. Okay,
Hmm.
read Aldous Huxley's the oh shoot, what's it called? The perennial principle, I believe. The perennial. Oh shoot. Oh, well, I'll look it up in a second.
Yeah, send it to me. Yeah.
Amazing. I am drawing from the of trying to, in my best agnostic way, okay, with my humility of saying I don't think that I have it all figured out, and I don't think I ever will. However, when you, I would be worried, okay, I would be very worried, Mike, if I was the only one who ever thought these things. I
Oh,
would be
I'm
like, I've gone
sure you're
crazy.
not the only one. Yeah.
Okay, no, this is thousands and thousands and thousands of years of distilled human experience with God, and the similarities of those base ideas across the board with world religious spiritual practice. It is amazing. Now, they all have the tendency of human nature to mythologize and to turn those truths into something systematic and rigid, and to other people, and to say that our group is the in group and everyone else is the out group. That's again human lower level nature. That happens with every religion, but it doesn't change the core truths that they
Yeah.
interacted with.
Well, then I would
and
ask
the
you
and
this
the
though: is where's the continuity? Where's the continuity of agnostics through history? Where is it?
we've always been there.
No, I
Always,
know.
man.
Right, right, but it doesn't share the equal type of continuity that the Book of Acts Church to the
Right, because
present day share.
90% of people are going to take the Broadway. Jesus rejected organized religion. 100%. Jesus was the most anti-religious person that you'll find,
But
and 90% of
it
people,
sounds
they
like
crucified him for it.
Gnosticism though.
It's not Gnosticism. I don't believe that this present world is evil, and I don't believe that there's only certain what did they call them? The ones who know, or no, the perfecti, the perfecti. There are there's a priestly class or
Hmm.
caste of people who have had a specific interaction with God. That's the cult shit. Like, no,
So
I don't believe
let
that
me
at all.
let's see if we can. My family's on their way back home. They're going to be noisy, so let's see if we can
Yeah.
make closing statements. Right. So
Okay.
I think if I'm understanding you, like I'm going to summarize what I understand, and you tell me if I'm near in the ballpark of where you're at. So
Yeah.
essentially, you know what you know, not based on any kind of special revelation or divine revelation, but mostly based on nature and your own experience. And given that, most people
As
won't
I have
choose.
experienced my own divine nature, I
Yeah,
understand it better. I'll
right.
say it that way.
So most people won't experience that the way you do. They take the broad path of the other way. And even though you're saying Jesus was talking about essentially you and your group taking this narrow way, you don't have any objective standard by which to evaluate Jesus' teaching because you don't see him as divine in the way that Christianity does, in the way that Christianity looks at him as divine.
Okay.
But hold on. So then essentially what it boils down to then is, I
I
mean,
don't hold on one sec.
and because you don't share, hold on,
Just a real hold on. Okay, all right.
I got a punchline. Hold on.
Okay,
Because you
all right,
don't
hit me.
because you don't share continuity with a historic agnostic church, religion, or whatever, you're effectively the leader of the religion of Scott.
No. No, see, again, what I'm saying is that there is a. You want to trace your lineage? We could have a whole hour-long debate
Well, it's
about the
not so
lineage
much
of.
about the
Hold on, hold on.
lineage. That's not what it's
No, no, no,
about.
no, no. But you're saying that I have nothing to base it on, and I'm on this island by myself. And no, this has been human nature has picked up on these things in a million different ways.
It's fine,
Uh,
but it's all based on subjectivity. It's based on your own
Everything is,
experience.
so is yours. Yours is based on your interpretation of someone else's experience.
Yeah, but
Everything
it's
is subjective.
at some point you have to look at the evidence and go, okay, there is an element of faith that has to be involved. But in the same way, you're exhibiting a greater amount of faith, not in a good sense, but like in a more unstable sense, because you have less upon which to base your worldview.
I have way more. I have the entire world, man. I have the entire created world and all of human experience seeing these same kind of things over our entire history. So no, I'm sorry. On that side, you're not correct. You're not correct. You have a canonized and mythologized version of a person who got these truths, and that was exactly what happens with every religion. It was systematized and turned into dogma and turned into a system exactly like Jesus was preaching against.
So, but
Okay, and
again,
you
I
say that because
that
their arguments for
yeah.
their own origin myth, and every culture, every religion has, they do this. We create our own origin
So,
myths.
but I would
Christians
say
created their origin myth.
my
And you're saying
silver
that them creating their origin myth is your foundation for your faith. That to me is way
that's
less
not
stable.
it's not the only part of the table as you mentioned earlier. But let me summarize this. My silver bullet for the whole thing for your worldview is that upon what objective standard, according to who, you don't have a basis outside of your experience.
And you don't have an objective experience. You don't have an objective standard either,
But hold on,
Mike.
hold on,
I'm
but hold on.
sorry.
Forget me for a
You have
second.
to take it on faith. Hold on. You have to take it on faith.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm
You have to
talking about
admit
right now.
this.
Hold
Hold
on.
on. But you no, no, you're coming at me and saying I don't have anything objective as if you do, and you don't. You
But
were not there
you're
2,000
saying
years
that
ago. You don't
we
know
don't
for
need an
sure that the
objective
Bible's
standard.
inspired. No, I'm saying that it's impossible to have. And if it had one, it would ruin the entire human experience.
So you're saying it's not our job to know the objective standard.
It is your job to be in constant pursuit of it and getting closer, like a planet gets sucked into the gravitational field of the sun. You are being pulled into this thing, and you need to stop resisting and you need to submit to it, because this thing is you and connected to you, and it is pulling you in. And if you live this way, your life, you will never be there, because if you were there, if you were, then you would be being itself. And I think that's what happens when you die. I think, but in between there, you get to live as the planet that starts off and doesn't know what it is, and gets pulled closer and closer and closer to this truth. And that's what growth looks like.
So the thing is, when you say that I don't have an objective standard upon which to build my morality, um, I let me just I'll lay my position out, which I'm sure you already know, but just for the sake of the conversation, um, you do have, if you reverse engineer it, you do have church history, you do have the canon of
Is
scripture,
that
and
infallible?
well, hold on, I'm
Is church
explaining.
history infallible?
Of course not. But you have the councils of early church fathers who decided upon what was canonical and what wasn't. I
Not
understand all that.
unanimously.
That's again, still none of it is. I get
That
that.
matters.
But it
That
doesn't need to
matters.
be. It doesn't need to be because
All you have is a democratic vote of people hundreds of years after the
the
event saying, "Okay, we're going to go with this way."
but
That's
even
what you have.
even but even hermeneutically, you have the consistency of what has been canonized. And you can look at what has been canonized and see how it is in harmony from beginning to
That's
end with
experiential.
no, it's not. It's just you
Oh,
can
yeah, it
read
is.
literally ask you can ask AI to read through the Bible and give you a summary. and ask it if it's
You can
consistent.
ask AI to do anything. And AI
Okay, but
listen,
my point in
and I
saying
would
this
say
is
this, do this though. You have
you
to do this. Train AI to debate with you as if it
sure.
actually wants to win, and then try to use that argument, and you will get smoked.
The point I'm making is that Scripture has the canon that we have as Christians has a meta narrative that is consistent. Not only is it consistent spiritually,
Yeah, because it's
philosophic.
curated.
Hold
It
on,
didn't happen in a vacuum.
philosophically it's consistent, but also even historically consistent. Okay,
Because it's
so
curated.
based on according to who?
This, oh, dude, how many look, curation is literally they decided by democratic vote this fits with our meta narrative and this doesn't.
But
And anything that
even
doesn't, hold on, they created the meta narrative by curation. They said we have this interpretation and now
that's
we're going to
just
find
totally,
justification
but
for
that's
it.
totally false. It's totally
No, it's
false.
not.
Yes,
No,
it
it's
is.
not, man.
It's objectively false. It's objectively
Tell me
false
how.
based on the manuscript evidences we have. You can't
Well, then
have
I'm not
5,000.
saying that the manuscripts. I'm not arguing. I'm not even making the point that the manuscripts are inaccurate. That's not my point. What I'm
Mhm.
saying is, why do you not have the Gospel of Thomas and all of these different things? They voted democratically, humans
Sure.
hopefully trying to have a
But
good
that's a
relationship
rabbit
with
trail to
God,
the
and
larger point. That's a rabbit trail to the
no, it's
larger
not.
point.
I'm saying that, like, you can't say that that's an objective thing. That there's this, like, this meta narrative just appeared out of nowhere, and oh, look at this magical book that got here, and we don't know how it got here, but somehow it all fits together. Of course, it fits together. It was and even the people writing in those veins, they were building off of presuppositions and things that religiously they had accepted,
But you're
and
stuck on the canon
they
argument, though.
progressively built this thing. So of course it's going to have internal consistency. It's an evolution.
But you're stuck on the canon
That
argument,
doesn't
and
mean that it's categorically true and doesn't contain any error.
hold on.
How
The canon argument is a whole different conversation. But even put that aside,
No, but
you
it's not
still
a
can't
different
escape.
conversation if you're using it as objective standard on which you base your faith.
I'm not saying it's the only basis upon which the faith is standing. Okay, that's
But
not
if
what
you
I'm
take
saying.
that one out, if you take that one out, your faith is gone.
But why would you take it out, though? That's the thing.
Ah, okay, because
Why
maybe
would
it's
you
not
take it
true.
out? Well,
Well,
no,
maybe
but
it's
what if
not
it is
true.
true? What if it is
Well,
true, though?
okay, but that's what I'm saying is that you have to start with a conclusion for it to be true, and then it proves itself true.
But the premise upon which I'm starting
But it's not
is more.
objective. How do you
Hold
call
on.
it
That,
objective?
I can give you that, but let's say the premise upon which I'm starting and your premise, okay? Like I said, my premise is rooted in years of history and tradition, okay, and
Minus
years of
two.
experience, okay?
Minus two.
You're where is it?
Where's what? I just told you where it is. You want to crack the Bible is part of it. The Bhagavad Gita is part of it. The Matrix is part of it. Humans' experience with the divine over tens of thousands of years, and the
Yes,
stories and the archetypes
but
and the
so
meta
we both
narratives that we
so we both
over
have these experiences, right?
subconsciously constantly create. Right?
I get it. I get it.
But here's the difference. I'm not pointing to all those things as evidence and proof. I'm saying that they are green lights to say, okay, you're definitely not the first one to think this way. We've been doing this a
Sure,
long
sure.
ass
But
time,
so we
right?
both have
But
experiences to
it's
which
not.
your
But
point.
it's not. But
I
I'm
get that.
honest. I say it's not objective. Yours is not either.
I'm not. Well, hold on. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I agree that there is faith that is necessary upon which to build
So you
these
have to have a
dogmas.
presupposition baked in before you can build them.
So do you.
No, I don't think so. Tell me how.
Yeah. You're
No, because mine
presupposing.
is. I'm
Go
presupposing
ahead.
nothing. I'm exploring. I'm curiously exploring. And I'm always open. Anything that I've said, I'm completely open to being wrong on. It doesn't bother me because I know that I'm in that tractor beam. I know that
How do you
that
know?
God is
You can't answer that question. How do you know?
see the fact that this plagues you, like that divine self just is. It doesn't have to
According to
have
who?
That's the point. There is no one else to judge it by. I am that I am. That thing just is.
But
And
you're
I
saying
trust
you
it.
you
I
are
trust
you
it.
are
I
that you
trust
are.
God. And I believe that I'm part of it.
So that's my whole premise is that you are.
But that's the difference between us. I don't think I can prove this, and I'm not trying to. I
But
don't
you're
think
saying that
I don't
your
I
belief
think
is
it's
that.
difficult to I think it's impossible to completely disprove. And just like I think it's impossible to disprove almost
That's
all of
fine.
these religious, you can't disprove them. All
But
you
I
can do
guess
is test them
the
and try them
the
and look, and by their fruits you shall
sure.
know them. I'll tell you this, by submitting to this kind of thing and letting go
Hmm.
of the certainty and the dogma, I'll tell you, man, the fruits of the spirit, if you want to call them that, I've
Hmm.
never had more of that in my life. I just want more of this. I love people more. I connect deeper. I appreciate God and creation so much
Yes,
more, dude.
but again, and I mean this respectfully though, because at the end of the day, and I know you're saying this is baked into the premise. At the end of the day, it's because you reject Jesus as God. That's it.
No, 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 no. Hold on. I wanted to get back to that, okay? Because that is the way that Christians always view this, and that's based on your own presuppositions. No, I am not rejecting Jesus as God. What I'm saying is, you think
But you
I'm
reject
dragging
God as
Jesus?
God.
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. No, no, no. You think
Yes,
that
you
I'm
do.
dragging Jesus? Hold on. You think I'm dragging Jesus down to a human level? I'm saying Jesus was trying to tell you, wake up. This is where you are. This is who you are. So I
Yeah,
think
but
that
not how you're saying it. You're effectively rebuilding the Tower of Babel in your own life. That I will be as
okay.
God. I will be as God. That doesn't end well for anyone.
I think that is you can't make that statement. Now you can say if you become your own, you don't care at all and about other people having similar faith journeys, and you don't and yours completely clashes in the things that really matter, right, in the fruits of the spirit, right, in the
Okay.
practicality of it. If it's not creating, and by their fruits you will know them, like if it is
Mhm.
not producing those same kind of things in you as it does with someone who was a uh, a real legitimate, sincere Christian who is trying to tap into the kingdom of heaven and
Right.
trying to let himself be guided by God. If you're not coming to the same kind of attitudes, and you ought to check yourself. It means that you're on a journey
Hmm.
by yourself, right?
Hmm.
But that's not what I'm doing at all. That's not at all what I'm doing.
But you're saying the ends justify the means.
How could they not? What else do you have? You don't have anything else objective. The entire
But
point of
again,
this
this.
is experience.
So I go back to you're
Try it
saying the
out.
ends
That's how
justify
we
the
find.
means.
That's that. Look, but look. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying is, so you're saying the ends justify the means. If you want to see the fruit of the spirit in your life or the good works or what have you, that the how you get there is not as important as the fact that you get there. And that's my whole thing is, so why is that even
Absolutely.
well, hold on, let me finish my thought here. Why is that even important? Because according to you, you're saying that you are the fact that you exist is the fact that you are part of the divine, and you get to be that moral judge, if you will, by what is good and what is not good. And like I said, when I think when you set yourself up that way, that
No,
is
listen,
effectively
listen.
the same premise the Tower of Babel had when they said we'll be like God. And what the reason I have a problem with that though is this: beyond the philosophical parts and everything, I think that at the end of the day, I think there is a, and I'm not trying to be insulting for the sake of being insulting. Please don't hear that. But I think at the end of the day, I think that is a, and again, this is my opinion, right? This is totally my opinion, but that is a coping mechanism by which to deal with the fear and the accountability that you feel as a human.
Wow. See, I would actually throw that back on you in the exact way. That no, 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 no. This is not a coping. This is not about fear. This is about love. This is the opposite of that. This is They're accepting that there is no instruction manual for what it is to be human, that is meant to be an experiential thing. You are meant to find out what it is to be human. You are meant to find out what it fully means to be human. And that's always a
Right.
journey. And that's why we have narrative the way that we have narrative and archetypes and the hero's journey. There is one story that is being played out over and over. And if you have any intelligence at all and pattern recognition, you can see that this thing is built into the code. This entire thing is built into the code. This
But don't
experience,
you don't you think that
hold on,
you're
hold on. This journeying, this questing, this curiosity. That this is the what you are. This is not just what you're supposed to be. This is what you are. This is what
Mhm.
the experience is. So embrace that, lean into it, and stop thinking that you have to be God in the sense of I am. I am in the glorified sense or whatever, or one with all being. No, because the point of you being human is to not be that. So like this is not exalting myself to be God with a capital G that way. No, and that's even why Jesus said you yourself, the scripture says that you yourselves are not God, Yahweh, I am, but you are lowercase gods. Why? Because there's a divine thing that's going on, but don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get puffed up. Just because you have a divine nature does not mean that you have it all figured out or can have it all figured out. That's not it.
Yeah. But don't you think that
So
like
you
you're
said that mine's based on fear. I think yours is based on fear. I think you're scared to death to say if
not
I
at
let go
all.
of hold on of this thing that
Yeah.
you think is objective, you've convinced yourself is objective, and that is actually evidenced and proof, and it absolutely is not. It's a faith. And if you let
No, of
go of
course
that,
it's a
well, what
faith.
is
It's
there?
not
That's
it's not a hundred
terrifying. That's
percent.
terrifying.
Not at all. Not at all. Like I genuinely believe what I believe. And that belief in and of itself has been my sustainer and my
And
it's
what
been
would
my
happen to you if you lost it? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Listen,
mhm.
this is the terrifying thing, and why most people never break out of organized religions when they've been in that deep, because it becomes your entire sense of self. You have so much history with it.
Come back.
Uh, it,
Come
it
closer to the mic.
okay,
There you go.
that becomes such a terrifying thing to let go of. It's I was there, dude. I tried to hold on to this. Like, and people always think, "Oh, you got bitter and angry at Christianity."
No,
No, dude. I
I
fought
don't think
I
that.
fought tooth and nail, man, to try to keep my faith as much as I could until I realized, okay, that this was scaffolding. This was my first experience with God. It doesn't mean it was worthless. It doesn't mean it wasn't real. It just means that there's a lot more to discover.
Yes,
So
but
there's a
that's but
lot more.
and we're on
Let
the
it
same
go.
page. We're on the same page when it comes to the faith-based. I'm not trying to anchor my entire um faith, my entire religious system, if you will, my entire Christianity in objective evidence. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to do that as a
Okay,
matter of
but
fact.
all right,
Like I
but if
hold on. I
let's say you had
genuinely don't want
none.
it. Well, let me finish my thought. I genuinely don't want to anchor my Christianity in objective 100% objective evidence. However, I want to make this distinction to say that at the end of the worldviews that we contain, that we both have,
Yeah.
okay, at the end of each of them, you have to adhere to them by faith, if we're honest,
Yep.
right? If we're honest.
Yep.
So,
And faith is not certainty. So that means that your faith
mhm,
always carries the possibility of
mhm,
eh, eh, and again, I think that your faith is like we would treat it as this black and white thing that either this thing is true or not, either I believe it or I don't.
mhm,
And it's uh, you never anything that you believe that let's say whatever it is, if you could if you could know that this thing was at least this one thing was absolutely true, right? You still wouldn't know it to be true in its full depth
right. But
as a human.
let me
It's
draw my
inexhaustible.
yes, but let me draw my conclusion, okay? So I agree that both systems are generally underpinned by faith. Okay? That's fair, right?
But
We're on the same page there. But the difference is let me think this through here. The difference is, I'm saying that my faith, okay, I'm saying my faith, and again, you can say, well, this is subjective. I don't agree, but I'm saying my faith is objectively anchored in a source. You're saying your faith
You
is
think it is? You hope it is? You have faith that
yes,
it
that's
is?
fine. That's fine. I'm saying my faith is anchored objectively in a revealed source. Okay? You're saying that your
That
faith
statement doesn't
is,
work, Mike. That
but it
statement
does.
doesn't work.
Well, hold on. I'm drawing
No,
a
it
parallel.
doesn't.
Let me finish my parallel. Let me finish my parallel.
Because you're starting it with a presupposition of certainty that you know that this is objective and that this is true.
Okay, that's fine. That's
You
what I'm getting
can't
to.
know.
That's what I'm getting to. So you're saying you can't know. You're
It's
saying
either faith
you're
or it's certainty.
hold on, let me finish my parallel. I'm saying I got to say this in one phrase so it makes sense, right? So I'm saying
Okay,
I have a
okay.
faith system, you have a faith system, okay? My faith system, I believe my faith system, and again, this is not you, this is just me. My faith system
Right.
is anchored in an objective source who has revealed himself through the person of Jesus Christ. You're saying that your faith system has no way to be anchored objectively into anything. The closest thing that it could be anchored into is your subjective experience. Okay? So, again, that's what you believe. This is what I believe. I'm not trying to dispute yours. I'm not trying to
And
bring
I'm
you to my
saying,
side.
you know,
I'm saying
you're not even
my
you're not
faith
even complete.
system, my faith system is more coherent and consistent than the faith system that you're supporting. That's it.
You're starting with a conclusion and you're looping right around back to it.
That's
Hold on,
fine.
because
That's fine.
no, you are. You're in a certainty loop. You're saying
That no, but
that
that's
I
fine. I can
believe.
accept
Hold
that.
on. You're
I can
saying I
accept it.
believe this thing to be true. You can accept that. Okay. So you're
Hmm.
in a certainty loop that has no justification for itself
I
beyond
believe it
itself.
does. I believe it does have
Well,
justification.
but you believe it because you believe it. You
No, I
believe it
believe
because you
it
believe it.
because
And it's true because
there
you believe
is
it.
faith. There is
And you
faith
believe it
mixed
because it's
into it.
true.
Hold on. There is
Where?
faith mixed
Where are
into
you
it.
not sure? Where are you not sure? Because if you're not sure, then there's faith. Where are you
There
not sure?
is. I'm saying there is faith mixed into it. However,
Where are you not sure?
there is also objective evidences that support my belief system. And I didn't
You can
eisegete.
always
Hold on, I didn't eisegete. I didn't eisegete those experiences and insert them into my belief system to support it. Right? I didn't start with a pre-baked premise and go out to find supporting evidence. I didn't do that. It revealed
Yeah, you
itself.
did.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
you did.
It revealed itself to me. Okay, yes, by faith, but also through objective sources.
You're I don't know how to make it any clearer, man. Like you're doing the certainty loop. You're saying that I believe that these things objectively are true, right? I believe and
But you
these things that support hold on, that support my faith. I believe that these things are objectively true,
Mhm.
even though I cannot prove that they are. I
I
cannot
can.
prove
I
that they
can
are.
prove
No,
some of
you
it.
cannot.
Yes, it's
Oh,
provable.
Mike,
I can prove
it's
some of it.
provable. It's
Some of it is
provable.
provable. Some of it is
Hold on.
provable.
Can you prove? No, no, not the underpinning
Mhm.
major faith statements that you're making. Those are by definition not provable.
Yes, but what I'm
You
pointing to is
cannot prove to me.
you can prove
No,
history.
and but
You
you're
can
saying
prove history.
you could to a certain extent you can.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah,
listen, do you think that any history that you know is inerrant, infallible, and
of course not.
inspired in the no, no, you only think that about the Bible. You think
But
that
at
there's
the
only one and how do you get there? You
but at the
chose to
end of the
believe
day
it
though,
not because of objective evidence.
at the end of the
You
day though,
chose to believe it that it's true, and then you use it as justification for saying this is why I believe it's true. You're in the
I'm but
loop.
that's no, I'm again, I agree, but you're in a loop as well.
Of course. But
You're
I'm
you're
honest about mine.
you're saying that there is no way to be certain, and that's a certain statement.
Um, sure, you got me. Uh, I got no problem with that. I'm uncertain
I
about all of
mean,
it. I'm
right.
uncertain about my certainty claims.
So we're both in the same
And
boat
hey,
is my
but
point.
here's the thing. No, no,
We're
no.
both
But
in the
here's the
same
thing.
boat.
I'm open to being wrong about that. Maybe you can
There
be
you go.
certain. If
There you
hey,
go.
look, if God comes and reveals something to me that's objective, like completely different, fine, man, bring it on. Like, I'm totally open to that. All I'm saying is I don't see any. I don't, and that is where faith is needed. Where
Hmm.
you only need faith when you can't have certainty. So
Yeah.
you want both. You want to say that I have faith and I have certainty, and they're not. No, they're diametrically opposed, dude. There are
No, I
some
see what you're
things that you
saying.
can.
I see what you're saying.
I
I
think that
really
you
do.
could historically say, you could say with pretty reasonable confidence, not 100%, not 100%. From that standard, you could say I absolutely believe beyond, let's say, beyond a reasonable doubt that Jesus was a historical, literal figure, and that
Hmm.
certain elements of this story seem to be pretty incontrovertible. But again, that's not even 100%. It's not
I'm
100%.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so you
And
can use
the
those
reason I'm
as
fine with
supporting things
that,
that these things, these evidences, if you want. There's a big difference between an evidence and a proof. Evidence is like,
mhm.
oh, okay, all right, this is leading me down this logical trail and whatever.
We can
That's
use
fine. Got
those
no
terms
problem with
then. I
that.
can
But
say
it's
that
not proof.
I have evidences. How about that? I have
There you go.
evidences. Does that
Yeah.
sound better?
And I think
Yeah.
everyone has to have evidences, and I have
Right.
evidences, and part of mine are
Well,
experiential, and part of mine. But listen, hold on. But yours,
yeah.
again, back to my point, all of yours are experiential too, because they're based on other people's experiences.
Nah,
All
not
of it's
exactly.
experiential. Yes, it is. Tell me how
Not
you got
exactly.
your truth. How did you get your truth without someone else's relationship with God that came before you and God inspired them and
Well,
they wrote them?
that's how it's handed down for sure.
Well,
But again,
and
the
how do you know
evidence
that?
is. That's the
Because they
question
told
I
you.
asked you the whole
Because they
time.
told you. Because they said so. Because they said that this is inspired. And we're in the same loop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're still
but
based
but
on
but
experience.
we can still say we're in the same experiential loop, but my loop is more coherent and consistent.
That is your job to evaluate your loops and constantly evaluate your loops
No,
and
I'm
put it
comparing
up
it to
against other
yours.
ones. Yeah,
I'm
no, no,
comparing it to
I know.
yours.
And I'm saying, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You should do that, and you should
Hmm.
compare it. And if yours satisfies you, and and you don't have a massive amount of doubt about it, good for you. Thank God.
But then
Wonderful.
again,
Like,
but with your loop, if we're consistent though, with your loop, everyone is essentially their own god, and everyone eventually builds their own Babel. And
no, you are
then
not
if
your own God. That is a miss.
I,
That is absolutely not
I'm
true.
distilling it, but then eventually what you
No,
get is
but you're
nihilism.
interpreting it. No, it's not.
It,
This is the opposite of nihilism. This is
not if
elevation
it's
of
consistent.
purpose. No, this is not eradication of purpose. This is elevation of purpose.
But
No,
if
nihilism, dude. No, no. Sorry, you can't go to nihilism with that.
I think it ends there.
It doesn't work. No, you're afraid it
Uh,
ends there because you have no experience with it. It does not.
no, I'm saying logically,
It
I
does
think it
not.
ends there.
No, of course it does not. To say that some things are unknowable and to say that
Hmm.
the purpose of it is journey and experience and curiosity and limitation, that does not the, but saying that this is intentionally created to be that way so that absolute there is absolute base reality, base truth, base beingness, that there's no way you can get to nihilism with that. You have purpose baked throughout every single experience you have in your life.
Yeah, but
There's
that's on
no
an
way to go to
individual level.
nihilism.
I think that if enough people live according to their own
Oh,
definition.
dude, I think hold on. I was gonna say this earlier.
Okay.
I don't want this to sound arrogant, but I think everybody should evaluate their worldview this way. Okay?
Okay.
If all 8 billion people in the world believed exactly the same way that I do,
Hmm.
what kind of world would we live in? All right.
Hmm.
And if the answer is anything other than much, much better than where you're at right now, keep working, keep digging.
It would be much worse.
And you should never stop digging. You should I no, honestly, I believe if everybody believed this the way that I believe it, this world will be vastly better. Vastly better.
But you're
Oh
not
my
accounting.
goodness, this
But you're
Robium.
but you're not accounting for the sinful nature of humanity.
No, I absolutely am. Absolutely I am, because I know my own sinful nature. I know, but I also know what I believe about it, and how I have learned that these two interact with each other, and how I'm learning every day more and more how to walk in this other thing that gives me joy and peace and grace and love, and it works, man. Like, I mean, no, I would not be afraid of anybody believing the way that I believe, because I know what it produces. I am not an
Right,
innocent
but
person, and this is not to say I'm perfect. I have the same
yeah.
nature as everybody else. However,
Hmm.
God, whatever this is as you submit to it, and say, okay, I don't know, teach me, help me.
Yeah.
What it that prayer will never go unanswered. That's amazing. It never goes unanswered. If you want to grow, man, be careful, because you're man, I prayed for that. I prayed for growth. I got my life absolutely shattered, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so thankful to God for all of the horrible things I've had to go through in my life. I have no complaints. I would never want to go through them again, but boy am I glad they happened. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think absolutely. If everybody believed the way that I do, and that is not exalting me on this pedestal and saying, "Oh, I'm the prophet and God's talk." I'm just like, this is the nature that I have experientially learned of what it is to be human. And if we will all
Yeah.
just submit to that force that is guiding us and teaching us, man, the world, and it is a better place because of that. Christianity is a massive part of why the world is so much better than it was 2,000 years ago, and we're not done yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So for you, all roads lead to Rome.
It that's a hard thing to say. No, no, there are bad roads. There are
According to
very
who?
bad roads.
According to who?
All right, we're going to go right back into that loop again. Again, that is experiential. Yes.
Yeah. But that's my
There
whole
are
point
things
though. Is
experientially I can say, if you follow that road
so
and you have what
let's say
the
you have,
spirit of Cain in you, of
hold
envy and
on.
bitterness
Let's
and
say you
jealousy,
have
or
8 billion people doing what they define as right according to themselves.
with all the same
That's
standard built in.
how? How do you know this? You don't know this.
Cuz I follow it. I know
You
it.
don't. But
Do
that's
you
the
know,
same.
listen, hold on. Do you know the
That's the
voice of the
same.
Spirit of God? Hold on. Do you know what it feels like when the Spirit of God speaks to you? Do you know that feeling?
Hold on. Hold
No,
on.
no,
I'm
no.
not
I
changing
need
the
no, no, no,
topic.
no, 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 no,
You're
no, no, no,
changing the
no. We
topic.
need to go there. No, but it's
But you're changing
important.
the
We need to
topic.
go there.
If
But
8
it's
billion people
related
end up doing what they want to do according to their own moral judgments, it
according
it
to
it
that
it
voice.
it
According to that
naturally.
voice.
What
Do
voice?
you know what that? Okay, the voice that you call the voice of the Holy Spirit. Do you know how it's different
Yes,
when it
but the
speaks to
voice
you?
that I
You
reference
go,
as the Holy Spirit is anchored in the revealed person of Jesus Christ.
great, whatever.
Your
I'm talking
voice,
about the experience of it.
your voice is
I'm t-
anchored in some experiential
leave
Scott thing.
leave that leave where it comes from alone. I'm asking you about your experience. In your
Hmm.
experience, do you know the difference between that voice of the Spirit of God speaking to you and your own just natural fallen thoughts or whatever? Do you know the difference between that at this
For
point in your
sure.
life?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what happens when you follow that voice?
What do you mean what happens?
What happens when you follow the voice of the Spirit?
It depends on what it's guiding me towards.
Okay, but does it guide you to good, to things that are good?
Like to
Does it
good
make it
actions.
does it to whatever you want to quantify as good? Does it lead you to good?
Well, yes, in the sense of like, will the outcome be good for me?
No, dude, this is a simple question. I don't know why you're dodging that one. That one should be easy. This is a gimme. It's like, if I follow the voice, I know what that voice is, and when I follow it, it's right.
Hmm.
It's right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. If you
know
follow
that's
God's
what
voice,
I'm
it's right.
talking about. That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
So
Okay?
what's your
And you want to
punchline?
say, "Oh, well, you don't have a right to that voice. You don't know that voice because you didn't get to it the way that I got to it." And
Yeah,
I'm saying,
that's baked into my religion.
I know, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Your religion is blind to all the other people in the world who are listening to the same voice
And
and
you don't
having the
have
same kind of
and you don't
experience.
and you don't have an objective source for that belief. It's a faith belief.
I don't need it.
Then
I'm
so but
okay with that. I'm
so
okay
you
with
you
not
you have
knowing exactly what it
a
is.
religious system based on no anchoring, based on experience. That's the definition of a cult.
Okay, I'm a cultist. Yes.
I mean, it
No, it's
really
not the
is.
no, no, intention is the definition of a cult. You're wrong.
Well, you might fall into it unintentionally. I think there's a lot of good intentioned people that end up creating
You think that
things
the
that
whole no, absolutely not true.
what's not true.
There are not cult leaders and those kind of manipulative people that intentionally use those things. Now, okay, I used to be a Reformed Baptist pastor. I was a leader. I was teaching things
Mhm.
that at the moment I would look back on and say I don't agree with that and I don't believe in
Yeah.
that. But that's different than being one of those kind of people. That's different from being a wolf in
I'm
sheep's
not
clothing.
I'm not saying that
Very
about you.
different.
I'm not saying that
Well,
about
that's what
you.
a
I'm
cult
saying about
is. So when you say that's the
the
definition and
framework.
basis of a cult, no,
The framework you're giving is the seedbed
it
for
can be
the
twisted.
beginning of a cult.
Just the same way that your faith can be twisted into manipulative and evil things. People could take what I'm saying and they could twist it into evil, manipulative things and that's human nature. You
But
can do bad
my
things
faith
with
has a
good things.
source.
Yes,
My
your
faith
faith
has a
is better.
source.
Your faith wins. Yes,
It is
because it has a
better.
source that you've never seen, as a source you've never seen, and you can't prove and you can't objectify.
It has
Yeah.
loads of
But it's there.
evidence.
And you're certain
Loads of
about it, and you have no
evidence.
doubt. I got you. Yeah. Right. Right.
But
I
the
got you.
uncertainty argument, your is a self-refuting argument. The
No,
fact
it's not.
that yeah,
It's a
the fact that
humbling
you're saying
argument.
I'm certain that we must live in uncertainty. That's you just played yourself, player.
I'm certain until something comes along that I'm open to being to being wrong about being certain. So no, it's not a I know absolutely this is absolutely how it is and nothing could ever change my mind. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And you
So no,
don't
it's not
think that
the
that
thing.
belief system is born, or no, you do. I'm sorry. You do think that belief system is born out of your life experiences, that the culmination of your life has led you to that belief system. And you're saying in no way is that belief system a coping mechanism to deal with the experiences you've had,
Oh
right?
my God. I got to be honest with you. That's a little bit of a condescending question.
Well,
That's a
I'm sure, you
very
know,
condescending question.
how so?
What do you mean, how so? You're looking at it and you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to invalidate the entire thing that you are trying to build in your life,
Mm.
and I'm going to reduce it to a simple coping. Oh, somebody hurt you, and so you have to cope." That's
I
pretty
don't mean it like that. No,
ew.
that's not what I
That's how
mean.
it reads.
That's not what I mean like that. I just mean like you look at your life experience and you go like I'm trying to comprehend it and make sense of it. Okay, so this faith system seems to make bring the most meaning into and the most explanation into my lived experience, right?
Yeah.
I didn't mean coping in the sense of like I can't handle it. That's not what I mean. I just meant like to make sense of it.
Well, could you not say that every worldview is. Look, everyone has a path that they took to wherever they are, of course, but I think you and
Mhm,
I would both believe that there is a higher power that is behind all of that and guiding all of that, and things happen for a reason.
mhm.
And that your responsibility as a human, as a limited human in this limited experience, is to listen to whether you are in nature connected to it or not, or whether it's completely separate from you the way that you think. I don't care. Either way, your responsibility is to humbly submit yourself to that
Mhm.
and let it take you where it wants to take you.
Sure.
That is the foundation of faith.
Yeah.
That's the foundation of it. Is I do not know, I cannot know.
Yeah.
I'm a human. I'm trying to understand. I'm doing my very best with it, but
Yeah.
guide me, help me,
So
save
you're
me.
saying
I'm
you're in
here.
a seeking mode, right?
Always, if I'm not in a seeking mode, how could I claim to love God?
Hmm.
How could you? And that's my number one complaint against certainty is I think you are by doing that, whether intentionally or not, exalting yourself to the position of the capital G God. I think it's a lack of humility and a lack of respect to God.
Oh gosh, I don't give myself any credit for anything that I have. I don't.
No, but
Uh,
you are, I believe you are trying to elevate that level of human existence to a plane that it's not ever supposed to be at. It's not designed for that. You're not supposed to, with your rational, uh, material mind, supposed to be able to understand the complexities of whatever God is.
well,
Like,
yeah. There's
how
he's
could you? How
if
could you?
God
That
is
makes no sense.
if God is
And so
omniscient,
for me, certainty is
yeah.
insulting, and certainty is insulting to the concept of God.
Well, maybe not certainty in the sense of like 100% certainty. How about that? And I know certainty is like a pass fail thing, but maybe like
Ooh, it is.
confidence in
I'm
the
good with
way
confidence.
confidence in the way God has revealed himself and
Yeah.
the way that his followers experientially have claimed that he's revealed himself.
And look, and here is the
And
difference between us there too. Like I can look at your confidence of having I believe you walk with God. I have no doubt about it. I believe that you have an actual spiritual relationship that is
uh,
healthy and that is vibrant and that you are doing your absolute best as a human to be
mhm.
submitted to that and that you are growing in that. But the problem is, in my opinion, that you have boundaries of certainty built around that experience that make it to where you feel the logical necessity to downgrade other ones if they don't match yours. And so I think that that is a flaw
Well,
in
everybody does that. Everybody does that.
everyone. I don't think we should be okay with it. I don't think that we should accept it. And you're right. You're right. Even I do that. I do that. I know I do that. But I try to catch myself and I try to be. But that's the humility. That's the saying. Okay, don't let me be exalted above don't let me fall into that
Right, but that's the whole thing is like
because ultimately that is
everybody's
self worship in the wrong way.
everybody's
That is
every every
certainty is self
religion,
worship.
hold on, every religion makes the claim that they're the right one. Okay. I mean that's built into every religious system that we are the correct process of knowing the divine,
It's human nature.
and so if
But it
but then at
usually
the
doesn't
same
start there.
time but at the same time you say yourself that all roads don't lead to Rome. So I know you're not calling yourself a relativist because you obviously don't think I don't think
I can see the result and the fruit of going down paths that obviously are not in alignment with that spiritual plane. You can see it.
uh,
You can see it
no,
because
I get that.
that's where hell comes.
Would you
You
call
can see
yourself a
what you know what hell
relativist?
looks like. No. No, of course not.
Would you say that you are correct and other religious systems are incorrect?
That I am correct and other religious systems are incorrect.
Yeah, would you say that?
Oof. I would say I don't know how I'm trying to think how I would answer that. I would
Because if
say that no,
because
no,
then
hold on. I would say I am as long as I stay open to my dependence on God
yeah.
and I don't let that pride take over, that I can trust God, whatever God is,
Hmm.
to 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 take me on the path that I should go. All right, that's what I would
Right, but
say. I
that's a
would
belief
not.
system. You're describing a belief system. So would you say that
Sure,
is that belief system superior to other belief systems?
I would say again, but it's not a all right, that is a very core shrunken belief system. And if you I would say yeah, I would make a and this is where I'm not a relativist, right? I would say that if you don't have that at the core of your spiritual faith practice, that humility, that curiosity, that lack of arrogance and certainty, if you Yeah, because of that if yours is built around the arrogance and condescension and certainty and all of that, I know that where that takes you, it takes you to a very bad place. So yes, of course, I would say that you following the broad road, if someone's following the broad road, it does lead to destruction. Yes, I can see,
My
and
question is if you
that's
think your belief system is superior.
it's not my belief system.
The belief
It
system you
doesn't
adhere to,
belong to
is it?
me.
Yes, but is it superior?
Is humility superior to arrogance? Absolutely, it is.
Well, I'm asking you about your belief system.
Well, that's my belief system.
The religion of
Humility,
humility. The
yes.
religion of
Faith, humility.
humility. Humility is a character attribute. It's not a religion. I'm asking you about your faith system. Is
Okay,
your
what is a
belief?
religion? A religion is a practice,
Yes.
and even the word
Okay.
religion means it's religare. It's to reconnect. That's what
But is
religion
your
is. So
is your
the
system
only way
superior?
to connect, and this is what
Yeah.
Jesus meant in John 14:6. This is the only way to connect, is through humility. It's through
You,
not being
you
certain.
don't.
It's through
You
not
don't.
thinking that you have it all figured out.
It's funny that you can't trust the canon, but you want to use the canon to support your positions. That doesn't make any sense.
No, absolutely, it does make sense.
No, it
I
doesn't
mean,
because
that's a lot.
you can't trust the
I'm
canon,
not
but you
quoting
use the
it.
canon.
I'm not quoting it as infallible. I'm saying that these are things that resonate and that absolutely
Yeah, but
seem to.
your whole you're
But
saying
I'll
your
quote
system
anything.
you're
I'll
saying
quote
your
the Matrix
system
in the same way.
yeah, but you're saying that your system
I'm
is
not making.
superior.
I'm not. I'm
You're saying
using
your
the Bible as an illustration, not
I
as
get it. I get
evidence.
it.
That's the
No, I
difference.
get it. I get it. But you're saying then your system is superior to other systems, your faith system. But then
Okay,
at the
if you
same
want to boil
time,
it down to, do I believe that humility is better than arrogance? Yes, I do. But I
okay,
don't mean
I
that in
believe
an
that.
arrogant way. I mean
I
that
believe that
I
too.
mean that in an empathetic and kind way of, hey, that won't help you. That will hurt you. Be
I
humble.
believe
Trust
that
me.
is
Trust me, it's better for you.
as character attributes, I believe humility is better than pride. Don't get me wrong, 100% there. But again, that we have there's just so many, like your whole system I think is built on a
I don't
mist.
have a system, dude.
Right, exactly. It's
That's
just
a
a mist. It's a fog. It's reaching into the void. It's not
yes.
it's the absence of content is
That's what
what
I
it
think faith
is.
is. It's reaching into the void.
No, faith has even though it's subjective, faith has an anchor in something, whether it's evidenced,
Mm,
proved or not. But your whole faith system
no,
is anchored.
you're defining faith the way you want there.
No, I'm defining faith on how it is.
Okay.
Faith has a subjective anchoring, if you will. Your faith system is anchored in the void of nothingness.
What is yours anchored in? Yours no, I'm sorry, dude.
But
You keep making this false dichotomy, this
you're
false
avoiding what I'm
comparison.
saying.
You don't have the foundation that you think that you have.
No, I
What I'm
have
saying is that
faith,
we're all no, I'm
but my
saying that we're
faith
all
is
on the
anchored
same
in
flimsy
evidences.
foundation.
You have faith that
No,
is anchored in
I have
nothingness.
lots of evidences I can point to. I already brought them up. The difference is I don't have faith in the evidences themselves the way that you do because I don't need them all to be 100% right. I have indicators that go, oh, okay,
But
that
that
yep,
doesn't make
that
any
seems like
sense,
that
though.
aligns.
It doesn't make any
To
sense.
okay,
It's I believe what I believe because I believe it. That's what it
that's
is.
what you've been saying.
No, my belief is based on a faith that I have. Your belief is based on what you think and believe.
No, yours is based on what you think and believe, and what your interpretation of what other people's experience with God has been.
Uh-huh.
And trying to take it out of that and try to make it this objective thing, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. It's not. That's not.
No, I'm
That's not accurate.
there's I have evidences upon which I base my faith. And again, I can accept the fact that you can call them subjective if you'd like. The fact of the matter is I'm saying I
And I
believe
would talk to
based
you, and I'm
on
talking to you the
these
same way I
things.
would talk to a. It's exactly the same mindset as a devout Muslim or a super MAGA person or a very
Yeah, that's
woke
fine.
liberal person. It's the same mindset as I have my reasons, I have my evidences, and they're right and yours is wrong. And it's like, yeah,
But your
okay,
evidences
cool.
ultimately are based on you though.
I don't need to prove anything, not to myself and not to anyone else. That's the thing. I'm okay with it. I got done trying to make this faith experience provable. That's the difference between us. I'm okay with
But
it.
it's kind of
I
just like
don't.
an, but right, but that's what I'm saying is it's kind of like an anything goes religion as long as your moral compass isn't
Yeah,
violated.
no, but once you let go, once you let go, and
Yeah.
I really think that this is the material ego mind that does not want to let go of these things because it
Mhm.
identifies with them. It's comforting. I need the loops to close. And I get that. I spent decades trying to get all the loops to close. Okay? And what I'm saying is my experience, fine, call it whatever. I'm not using it as proof. I'm just saying my experience has been stop trying to close all the loops.
No,
Stop trying to close them all.
there's some loops that are definitely unclosable. We can't close them. But like I
And
said,
a whole lot more than what you think. And the deeper you go, like here's the thing, that doesn't mean that you stop thinking deeply.
but
It just
Scott, at
means
the
that
end of the day, it
you don't think that there's a bottom to the abyss. No, as far as you go, it's God. It's infinite. There's no way
I agree
you're
there's
gonna
no
get
way to
there.
know an infinite God. I agree that God has hidden himself in a way that because he's infinite, if we understood him, we would be infinite. I get that. But what I'm saying is your system is kind of like an anything goes as long as it doesn't violate my own moral compass. And if we had a world of 8 billion people who lived the same way, eventually everybody it just devolves into chaos and disorder, which is totally against nature. It goes against nature.
It devolves into chaos, and this is why communism doesn't work,
But this is
because
essentially
it
a
is.
religion that's very
Hold on,
similar
no,
to
hold
communism.
on. No, well, here where I'm going with this.
Go
No,
ahead.
look, communism would work. Communism would work if it were not for a bunch of people following their lower motivations, shall we say. If
Okay.
you could get everybody to agree to follow that higher whatever is built into them, communism would work just fine. But you're never going to do that. Why? Because doing it that way is costly. Because that's why it's the narrow road. The narrow road costs. It hurts. You have to sacrifice. You have to do what's right even when it doesn't feel right. You have to deny certain impulses. You have to think of others and not yourself.
But
And what
dude,
I'm saying is
the same problem
if everybody could follow that thing perfectly, then we'd have heaven on earth. We're not
the
going to have
same
that.
but the
And I don't
same
think that.
problem arises when you like take communism for example as a system, right? This we want communism purports that the working class
And
needs
listen,
to
hold on. I
cons-
got to say this too, real quick, though. I'm not saying that my faith based system should be some kind of theocracy, that this would translate into a good world government system.
yeah,
Absolutely not.
yeah.
However, if everybody thought this way and believed this way, then yeah, we'd be in a very completely different world. But if
Yes,
that's never going to happen, then that's
the
fine. And
reason
that's why you need
the
lower. That's why you need the lower common denominators of
reason
societal laws.
communism
And
doesn't work is the same reason that your system, I don't even know how to label it, your uncertainty
it's not a
system doesn't.
system.
It is a system. But see, communism
All right.
doesn't work.
But
Hold on.
you're telling me my faith doesn't work for whom? It doesn't work for the world if everybody believed it. What? How well has that worked out for Christianity when they've had like big market share of the world? It doesn't work.
Christianity? What do
You
you
can't
mean?
make everyone act like a good Christian. There is no faith that you can find that's gonna fix the
No,
world.
you
It
can't
doesn't work
legislate
that
faith,
way. It's
but
human
Christianity
nature.
has objectively made the world a better place.
Oh, I
Objectively,
didn't deny that.
you know,
Because of its focus on those things of humility and surrender to God.
because people believed in an objective God who revealed himself in the person of Jesus Christ. That's why
Okay.
it worked. That's why it worked.
No, you're taking the result and saying that must prove the origin. And that doesn't, no,
Yes,
it doesn't work.
because the
It
ends
doesn't
don't
prove it.
justify the means. I can get a good
All right.
ends
Hey,
and have terrible means.
my battery's about to die on my headphones, and this has been
Oh,
like 4 hours. So
well, yeah, I'm kind of tired too. I need to go make some coffee. But listen, I want to
okay.
say this. I think you're great. I have enjoyed our
Cool. I think
conversation.
I'm great.
Well, I think you're a very thoughtful person, and you think critically, and I think the world needs more of that. Um, like I said, it sucks everything that, I mean, again, I'm not just trying to pander to you. I'm saying it sucks everything that, we have experienced in the religious world. And I think at the end of the day, if we continually seek God, he will reveal himself more and more clearly until someday where we're united
100%.
with him. Until someday we're united with
100%.
united with him.
And there we
So
agree. There you go. That's the great
so
way to end it.
I don't want you to, you're not my enemy. As a matter of fact, I think I have greater I have greater what's the term I'm looking for? I have stronger
Attraction to me.
affections. I have stronger affections for you, having heard from you and obviously trying to understand where you're coming from. So I think
appreciate that,
that's
man. It's
I genuinely I mean that. I'm not just trying to be.
no, I
Yeah.
know you mean it. I know you mean it. And I've always appreciated you,
So-
always will. And I hope that we have these kind of debates for another 30, 40 years.
Well, yeah. One day you'll agree with me. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, when I'm in hell.
All right, man.